All right, hi folks. So this is lesson 2, three-step equations. So you did kind of a preview of this in your last lesson. Um, but the big thing with three-step is that there's x's on both sides. All right, so with x's on both sides, it just presents a little bit different. Well, not really, it's the same math. Um, the first thing we want to do is we want to get the x's to one side, and I'm going to add to this, and constants to the other. Okay, so we want all x's on one side and all constants on the other side. So it really doesn't matter. You can put your x's on the left or you can put them on the right. Just make the decision. I'm going to move my x's to the left, and that's a personal preference. That has nothing to do with it being more right or anything like that. But I like to have my variable on the left. That's just me personally. So I need to move this x to this side, right? I need to move that 5x over. So I need to get rid of it, so I'm going to do opposite operations. It's a positive 5x, so if I subtract 5x, those will cancel each other out. But if I subtract 5x from this side, I have to subtract 5x from this side. Okay, so I'm going to do my math. So these cancel each other, they give me 0, which is good. This is not divide, this is subtract 5x. So I'm left with a negative 8 on this side because my 5x is gone. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So 3 minus 5 leaves me with a negative 2x plus 2. Okay, so yes, I got my x's all on the left-hand side, but the next step to that is getting my constants to the other side. So I moved my x's to the left-hand side, so I need to move this one to the right-hand side. So to get rid of a plus 2, I'm going to subtract 2. If I subtract 2 from the left-hand side, I have to subtract 2 from the right-hand side. So here, this will give me 0. So I'm left with 2x, or sorry, negative 2x on the left-hand side, and negative 8 subtract 2 is a negative 10. Okay, so now this just gets down to one-step algebra. So this is, like on the last lesson, negative 2 times x. So that's what that means here. So the opposite operation I'm trying to deal with is that multiply. So the opposite to multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 2. And if I divide the left-hand side by negative 2, I have to divide the right-hand side by negative 2. So x is equal to a positive 5. And that's my final answer. So bring the x's to one side, bring the constants to another side. I'm going to simplify. What I meant by simplify is combine like terms. We're going to put the constants on the other side, and we're going to combine the constants. Okay? Then we are going to divide away the coefficient, which we did here, divide by negative 2, and then we stated the answer. So, all right, so I'm going to start with the 8y one. So 8y, 3y, like I said, I'm moving my variables to the left-hand side. That's what I want to do. So to get rid of a negative 3y, I'm going to add 3y. If I add 3y to the right-hand side, I have to add 3y to the left-hand side. Sorry, it's the bell. I wonder why we have the bell going on today. Okay, sorry, that says plus 3. Plus 3. All right, so I'm left with just 2 on the right-hand side. I'm going to combine like terms. So I have a positive 8 plus 3, so that's 11y minus 9. So now I got to bring my constant over. Now remember I moved my variable to the left-hand side. So that means constants are going to go to the right-hand side. So I'm going to add 9, and I'm going to add 9. So I'm going to have 11y equals 11. So again, this means 11 times y. I'm always going to write that off to the side for you guys in the examples, just so that it's a reminder that it's not an add or subtract, it's a multiply. So I'm going to divide by 11 because that's the opposite operation. Divide by 11. So y equals 1. And that's my answer on that one. Okay, I'm going to slide over here. All right, so I have a negative 4x and an x. So I want to move this x to the other side. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I'm going to get rid of those lines because I'm worried that you guys might think that's a divide. So I want to bring, it's a positive x, so to get rid of it, I subtract x. So on the right-hand side, I'm left with 18. On the left-hand side, 3 just gets rewritten, just like we did over here. The negative 9 got rewritten. So the 3 gets written. I have negative 4 minus, and don't forget that's the invisible coefficient of 1. So minus 1, so that's going to be negative 5x. All right, so I need to get rid of this 3. There's no sign in front of it, so we know that it's an implied positive. So to get rid of a positive, we're going to subtract. If I subtract on the left-hand side, I have to subtract on the right-hand side. So negative 5x is equal to 15. It's really easy. Do I have a different color? That's the question. It's really easy to forget that sign. So just make sure that you're paying attention and bring that down. That's really important because that is something that happens all the time. It's a simple mistake. I'm guilty of making it, but pay attention so you don't lose marks for silly mistakes. So again, this means that it's negative 5 times x. So we're going to be dividing by negative 5. Divide by negative 5. X is equal to negative 3. Do you guys miss the bells? Okay. All right. So down to our last 2 examples. So we're just going to do it again. Oh, did you guys notice that there is no equal sign in this example? Let's put an equal sign right here. Let's do that. Huh. That's interesting. So we're going to put the equal sign right there. I'll make sure that it's edited on your notes for you. So let me write that in a little better so we can. So we're going to make that an equal sign. Perfect. Okay. So this time there's no variable on the right-hand side. So that's interesting. That's fine. No big deal. So I'm going to end up combining my x's. They're already on this side. So this is just like we did. We're going to collect like terms. So 2x plus 2x gives me 4x plus 5 equals 3. I got to get my constants to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 5, subtract 5. So I'm going to have 4x is equal to a negative 2. All right, so I got to get rid of that 4. So divide by 4, divide by 4, and x is going to be equal to a negative 0.5. Now, you probably saw this and knew that that was a negative 1/2. So you could leave your answer as negative 1/2. I don't want to see you leave your answer as a negative 2/4 because I think we do really need to get into the habit of always reducing fractions when we can. I think that's really important. Okay, good. This example does have an equal sign. Whew, thank goodness. Okay, so again, I need to get that 2x to the left-hand side. And I do it the same way every time. I don't usually switch sides. So I always bring my x's to the left-hand side. So if that's what you're going to do, always do that. That way it's kind of like muscle memory. You just remember how to do it. So we're going to have 2x moved over here, so I'm going to subtract 2x. I have to subtract 2x from this side. Note that I put it right under the 5x. That way I stack them. I can do the subtraction really easy in my head. So I'm left with negative 8 over here. I have my 7, so the 7 just gets rewritten right there. And now I have plus x minus 2x. So that's going to leave me with a plus 3x. Okay, now I have to move that 7. I want to move that 7 to the other side because my constants are going to go on the right. So again, no sign in front of it, so it's an implied positive. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So I'm going to be left with 3x on this side, and I'm going to have a negative 15 on the other side. I'm going to divide by 3, divide this side by 3, so x is equal to a negative 5. It's really important. Solving equations is one of the most important skills we can do. And we always have to follow the same steps every time. If there's an equal sign, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Pay attention to your positive and negatives because those also are really important. So you'd be using this in applied math, in pre-cal math, and in essentials math. We do a lot of equation solving in essentials math. It's one of like the core fundamental things that we do. So this is really important that you get this. So take your time, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.